Peace, family. I pray you're blessed. I pray you're doing your best out there wherever you are. Peace to the families, peace to the tribes, peace to my brothers and sisters. Listen, let's talk about that time I pissed off a Warlock. Now, in my defense, I did not know he was a Warlock. I was just responding to the man the way I would respond to anyone. So, he was the mason working on the land where we were building. He had done several projects for us, but this is like the first one where he would be in daily contact with me. And so I already had my reservations about him because I didn't like his energy. I didn't like the way he pushed, like he was always pushing boundaries. And when I see men do that to women, I know they're a problem. So I'm like, okay. So I told my ex-husband, I'm like, listen, as long as the work is over there, it's not at my house. So I don't expect to really be seeing him all the time because the work is over there. It's in the lot next to my lot. So, of course, as I anticipated, this man kept finding a reason to knock on my door, to interact with me every single day. And it was getting on my nerves. And he had this entitlement issue where he would refer to me as his wife. Not he wouldn't say it that way. He would say my wife or our wife, because I was married to someone he was distantly related to. So he would say, my wife, this is our wife, when he was addressing me or speaking about me. And I used to say, no, I'm not your wife. No, I'm not our wife either. And of course, the West African men, they didn't understand why I was resisting that, tradition that they had. But I knew why I was resisting it. And it was because they were using that as an excuse to either claim authority over me or to use me in their benefit in some kind of way. So he would come, pretend like he was just saying hi, making small talk. And that was fine. I didn't have a problem with that unless I was busy. Or he would come, talk to my kids and always like, where's your mom? Where's your mom? Where's your mom? And, my oldest would know I didn't want to talk to him. So I'd always give him some kind of excuse so he couldn't see me. But I would inevitably run into him on the land. And so one day he tells me, we need some green tea and some peanuts. You need to go to the market and get us some green tea and some peanuts. And I said, who needs to go to the market and get you green tea and peanuts? Because it's not me. He's like, no, the women are supposed to. I said, sir, first of all, I don't even know you. Second of all, you work here. I am not a servant to you. I'm sorry. If you need green tea and peanuts, you need to pick it up at the market before you get here. And so, he kind of left with a little bit of an attitude, and he went across the street. There was a house across the street. There was a woman over there who was building. Seemed like she was pretty much alone. So when you see this intimidating man coming over there asking you to do something, her and her daughters complied, right? They started making them green tea because I wasn't doing it. And so the reason why I wasn't doing it is because I felt like he was always invading my space and trying to test my boundaries. So I was letting him know, listen, I'm not a woman you can do that with, because I know what comes after if I allow you to continue. And so he would just keep wiggling his way onto my land or at my front door on my veranda, trying to get my attention to talk to me about nothing, or make some kind of request that one of his wives should be taken care of. And then he would refer to me as our wife. And I'd be like, no, I'm not your wife, honey. No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I'm not going for that nonsense either. And so I accidentally pissed the man off because he said to me, I had somebody deliver some stuff to my house, right? And he's nosy as hell. So I had the guy deliver the stuff to the garage door where I could just open the door, bring the stuff in, and hopefully where he would be busy enough that he wouldn't even know, right? That's what I was thinking. But no, he was paying attention. And so he goes, he saw the man come in and deliver the stuff, right? And then the man left, right? Then he comes back to me and he's like, excuse me, who was that man that came in your garage? And I was like, well, why do you need to know who came to my garage? Because I'm watching the property and I need to know who's going in and who's coming out. I said, according to who? Because as far as I know, this is my house, not yours. And you working the lot next to me. Why are you over here? And he was like, well, when I find out who that man is, I will beat him and I will tie him. I was like, listen, listen. You better leave that man alone. Okay. That's like an old school roster. He's not going to play with you. He's not going to play with you. Leave that man alone. He was just making a delivery. Okay. Mind your business. And your work is over there. Why are you always at my house trying to see what I'm doing? Now, when I said this to him, the error that I made is that he was with other men. So he's like the alpha male. He's also the boss. He's the mason, the head mason of the group. And I'm speaking to him in that way because he's violating my boundaries. But of course, the other men don't understand that. They come from a very different belief system than mine. So they're looking at me speak to him as a woman speak to him in this way. And they're surprised. Okay, they're shocked. And then I didn't know it, but this conversation, my tone of voice and my attitude and my unwillingness to kind of bow down to his authority, his imagined authority, because he really had no authority on my property, it made him feel ashamed and humiliated. Now, it wasn't my goal to make him feel ashamed or humiliated, because really what goes on my property really is none of his business. He just works there. And so, he was highly offended by my response and the fact that I would never comply. You see what I'm saying? And so next thing I know, I see the man like pacing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's, by sundown, the workers are usually gone, but the sun had gone down and his behind was still outside. He had taken off his shirt. He's going back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? And so I'm like, I'm not even going outside until he's gone, because I don't know what kind of nonsense he's on. And finally, I hear him get on his motorcycle and leave. And so I open up my door, and in front of my door is a tall rod of iron, taller than me, stuck into the ground in front of my door. And I'm like, why did this mason stick this iron rod in front of my door? What is he doing? And so as I walked by the rod to go make sure all my gates were locked, Um, I heard a voice say to me, Shonda, you need to remove that. Because if anybody other than you removes it, they're going to be harmed. And so I said, what? What am I hearing? It was like I heard this voice in my head say that to me. And so I grabbed the iron to pull it out the ground, right? And when I grabbed it, I immediately felt like this intense flow of energy kind of like collide with me. I don't know how to explain it. And I pulled it out the ground and I removed it from my land. And it felt like this swirl of energy was just going around me like this. It was just going around me like this. But nobody could see or feel it but me. So I made my way back to my house, back to my living room. And I felt like there was energy swirling around me like this. My head started hurting. My stomach started hurting. I started to feel nauseous. And I said, God, what is this? What is this nonsense? And as I sit myself down to try to focus on the energy that I'm sensing flowing around me, like really rapidly, like this. I don't know how to explain it. And it was like a tornado of energy around only me since I grabbed that pole. And so I sat down. I focused on the energy in my mind. And don't ask me how I did this or how I knew what to do. But I took that energy and I channeled it backwards to where it came from. And I saw the energy moving. And at the end of, this movement, when I was sending this energy back to where it came from, I saw an image of the Mason. And I said, oh, shit. The Mason is a Warlock. And I done pissed him off. So, all the energy calmed down once I sent it back through my mind. My headache went away. My stomach ache went away. I wasn't nauseous anymore. Everything calmed down, went back to normal. And I said, my God, what in the world just happened? And I heard a voice say, well, you humiliated him in front of the other men, so he wanted to teach you a lesson. And I said, this is crazy. And that's how it is. That's how it is in places like Gambia, West Africa. You just be living your life, doing things the way you would normally do them, not really meaning any harm, but because of the way that you grew up, because of the way that you see things, the way that you respond to things, you'll be upsetting people and they will be doing witchcraft on you. So you better be careful.